Good morning, students. Yesterday we have studied about charging of object by induction. So one question arises that when an object is charged, will there be will there is any change in its mass also? So obviously object possesses two types of charges. If the body is positively charged, obviously it is done by removing the electrons. So when electrons are removing, obviously some mass get decreased. Similarly, if the body is negatively charged, obviously we have added some electrons to it, so there will be some increase in mass. So this is the question based on charging by induction. Now the next topic is about point charge concept. As we know that in mathematics, point means a structure without any dimension. Similarly, if the charge is distributed in such a way that its dimensions are not effective, then such charge distribution is treated as point charge. And this concept will be used in Coulomb's law. Why we are taking this concept? Because if charge distribution is having dimensions, then its distance of one charge from different points will be different. So in Coulomb's law, we take or we measure the distance between two charges and it should remain constant. So we consider the concept of charge as point charge. The Coulomb's law. Basically, Coulomb's law is used to find out the magnitude and direction of electric force between two point charges. We can calculate electrostatic force of attraction or repulsion between two charges only. But if there is any continuous distribution of charge and if we wish to find out overall force, we have to use the superposition method. We will discuss this topic later on. This force acts between two point charges at a time, and direction of force is always along line joining two charges. We will take two charges at a time and we will draw a line joining these two, and the direction of force, whether it is attractive or repulsive, its direction will be along this line joining. Charge should be stationary. We are dealing with the electrostatics, so in electrostatics charge should be at rest. And this is the well-known phenomena that like charges, if charges are similar nature, they are having same nature, they will repel each other. And if two charges are unlike, it means they are opposite charges, they will attract each other. And this phenomena can be rewritten in this way also, that if the charges are like charges, obviously their polarity is same. So if we multiply these two charges, it will give you a positive result. It means Q1 into Q2 will be greater than 0. Obviously force of repulsion will act between these two. Similarly, if the charges are unlike charges, so their product will be a negative value, hence force of attraction will act between them. So this is the mathematical method for representing this phenomena. Now come to the topic, the Coulomb's law. These are two charges, one is charge Q1, another is charge Q2. The separation between these two is R. Charges are at rest and the medium present around or between these two charges is vacuum. According to Coulomb's law, the force of interaction, whether it is repulsive force or attractive force, it will be decided by the polarity of two charges. So in general, we will say it is force of interaction. The force of interaction between two charges, F, it is directly proportional to product of two charges, product of magnitude of two charges, but it is inversely proportional to square of the distance between these two. The distance between two charges is R, so this force is inversely proportional to R square. Combine these two, what we are going to get? We will get that force is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2 divided by R square. Remove this proportionality sign. If we remove this proportionality sign, we find a constant and the constant is K. So force F is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. So K is a constant and its value, it depends on two things. First, what is the system of units we have adopted, whether we have adopted SI system or the CGS system. Second thing, it depends on nature of medium between charges. What is the medium present between these two charges? So if we talk about its value in SI system, if the medium is vacuum, then the value of K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Here epsilon 0 is called permittivity of free space. Free space means vacuum. So here we have already studied the medium is vacuum. If the medium is other than vacuum, we will write the permittivity of that medium. Okay, so here we are taking medium as vacuum. So the value of K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. The value of epsilon 0 is 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12, and its unit of measurement is Coulomb square per Newton per meter square. So if you put the value of epsilon 0 as 8.854 into 10 to the power minus 12, we find the value of K as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, which will be equal to approximately 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. So in SI system, we will put the value of K as 9 into 10 to the power 9. If the permittivity of medium is epsilon, because it is not compulsory always the medium between two charges is vacuum. It may be some other medium also. So if the permittivity of medium is epsilon, then the value of force F dash, it will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon Q1 Q2 upon R square. Then we will not write epsilon 0. Okay, so the force depends on the permittivity of medium, and you can see that force is inversely proportional to permittivity of medium. If the permittivity of medium is high, then force get decreased. Now, if we find the ratio of these two permittivity of medium, permittivity of free space, this ratio is known as relative permeability, relative permittivities, or dielectric constant. So epsilon R or K is known as dielectric constant or relative permittivity. So from this expression we can find the value of epsilon. So value of epsilon, it is equal to K times epsilon 0. Substitute this value. So F dash is equal, substitute this value in this expression, equation number 2, here epsilon. So F dash is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon K Q1 Q2 upon R square. So 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square, this is the force experienced by two charges in vacuum. So obviously it is divided by K, so obviously force get decreased if the medium is not vacuum. In the presence of any other medium, force get decreased. Hence, electrostatic force of interaction between two charges reduces due to the presence of dielectric medium. Now, if we discuss about CGS system, the value of K is 1. Dimensional formula for epsilon 0 is m minus 1 L minus 3 T4 and A square. This is just to learn. Now, this formula was about the Coulomb's law to find out its magnitude and direction. Now we will express the Coulomb's law in vector form. And whenever we represent a law in vector form, it is compulsory to represent the formula in two parts. One will be magnitude and other will be its direction. So first case we are taking, that is that Q1 and Q2 it is greater than 0. It means charges are like charges, and it is known that when the charges are like charges, they repel each other. So here this is charge Q1, this is charge Q2. So when Q1 repels Q2, so obviously it will apply force in this direction. If Q2 repels Q1, it will apply force in this direction. So force on Q1 due to Q2, that is F12, and it is in this direction. Similarly, force on Q2 because of Q1, that is F21, and it is in this direction because Q2 is being repelled by Q1. Similarly, Q1 is being repelled by Q2. Okay, so the direction of force is away from each other. Now, if we discuss about position vectors, so position of vector of Q1 with respect to Q2. So Q2 becomes reference point. If it is reference point, the position vector of 1 with respect to 2 is R12. Similarly, position vector of Q2 with respect to Q1 is R21. So R12 is position vector of Q1 with respect to Q2, and R21 is position vector of Q2 with respect to Q1. Now the important thing is that they are having opposite directions. You can see R12 and R21, they are having opposite directions, but their magnitudes are equal. So let us start first topic. When Q1 and Q2 it is greater than 0. F12, this is the force on Q1 due to Q2. R12, this is the position vector of Q1 with respect to Q2. So Q2 becomes reference point. Similarly, F21, this is force on Q2 due to Q1, and R21, this is position vector of Q2 with respect to Q1, because now Q1 becomes reference point. Hence, if we wish to write force experienced by F12, force experienced by first charge due to second. Okay, force experienced by first charge due to second. Magnitude is same, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square. So this part is the magnitude. What about direction? Direction is represented by a unit vector. Now F12, you can see F12 is in this direction, and the direction of R12 is also same as F12. So R12, F12, they are in same direction. So to represent direction of force experienced by first charge due to second, it is represented by unit vector R12. R12 is unit vector along R12, vector R12. Similarly, we can write expression for F21, force experienced by second charge due to first. So again, from this formula, you can see force experienced by second charge due to first, its direction is same as R21. You can see both having same direction. So direction of F21 is represented by unit vector R21, and R21 is unit vector along vector R21. Two vectors are opposite to each other, hence these two directions R12 and R21, they are also opposite to each other. Magnitudes are, you can see, magnitudes are same but directions are opposite, hence we can say that F12 and F21, they are opposite to each other. F21 and F12, they are opposite to each other. So this was the case when Q1 into Q2 is greater than 0, it means both are repelling each other. Now, second case arises when Q1 into Q2 is less than 0. It means two charges attract each other, because now their polarities are opposite to each other. So direction of force get reversed. This is charge Q1, this is charge Q2. So Q1 is being attracted by Q2. Similarly, Q2 is being attracted by Q1. So this is the direction of F12, this is the direction of F21. Positions vectors are same, R12, position vector of Q1 with respect to Q2. R21, position vector of Q2 with respect to Q1. Magnitudes of two position vectors are same but directions are opposite. Now, the important thing is, now F12 and R21, they are in same direction. You can see direction of force F12 and position vector R21, not R12, position vector R21. Similarly, force F21 and R12, they are in same direction. Okay, so now we will write F12, force on 1 due to second. It is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now direction of force F12 is along R21, not along R12. This is the important thing. Similarly, Q2 is being attracted towards Q1, hence direction of F21 is directed along R12. So F21 is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now it is R12. Again, two position vectors are opposite to each other. So again we can say that force on 1 due to second, it is equal and opposite to force on 2 due to first. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. So force exerted by first charge on second, it is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction to the force exerted by second charge on first. So this expression was in terms of position vector. You can replace this position vector with a vector also, as it is known that a unit vector is vector upon its magnitude. So it can be written in this way also. Unit vector can be replaced with vector upon its magnitude. So F12 is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 upon R square, vector R12 upon its magnitude. So square and R, it becomes cube. Now vector is represented in terms of vector. Similarly, other forces can also be written in same manner. The important thing is the magnitude of R12 vector and magnitude of R21 vector is same, and it is equal to distance between two charges R. So this is all about Coulomb's law, its vector form and its magnitude. Have a good day.